Hello, welcome back to the Zero Excuses podcast and the second edition of Wheel Book Wednesday. This show is the short show that I bring to you each and every week where I share my various thoughts or ideas or whatever happens to pop into my brain this week. I'll bring that to you each and every Wednesday. This is going to be a unscripted, unedited, unproduced, just raw show that brings you actionable, practical information that you can take with you into your everyday life and just crush your excuses. If you're not familiar with what a wheel book is, I encourage you to go back and listen to our first Wheel Book Wednesday. I go into detail about what a wheel book is. It's something I've brought forward from my days in the military, and it's something I find useful in my day-to-day life. So before I jump into today's subject matter, I want to remind you guys to go onto iTunes and subscribe and rate this podcast, and also to join our closed Facebook group where we've got 260 people who are having some amazing conversations around the tactics and the strategies that they are employing to crush their excuses. So what I wanted to cover today are the core values of the Zero Excuses mentality, and that's action, focus, and discipline. It's going to be a three-part series. The next, today and the following 2 weeks, I want to cover each one of those. Today, I want to cover action. And what that means to me is that without taking action in your life, nothing is ever going to change. So that's why I thought it was important to use that as the first core value. And I want to break that down into, I guess, 4 key ideas on how that manifests for me in particular. I mean, you don't have to agree with me on how to implement this in your life, but I want to break this down for you to give you an idea and to kind of give you a glimpse into how my mind works. So the 4 ideas that I have about taking action is act now, act consistently, act despite the presence of difficulty, and act despite the presence of fear, which you can define that as courage as well. But the Navy kind of already has that, and I didn't want to completely copy the Navy, which their core values, by the way, are honor, courage, and commitment. You can go on to Navy.mil and dig into that yourself. But getting back on track here and talking about action, the first idea behind taking action is to act now. This is vitally important because this eliminates analysis paralysis. You're never going to have all the info or see the entire picture clearly. You're going to spend your entire lifetime trying to get every single scrap of information to make the right decision. You're not going to know that information. I'm an engineer by trade. I'm going to be bringing in some engineering ideas and tools into the discussion here. And one of those is the Pareto principle. It's commonly known as the 80-20 rule. And how this looks in the context of taking action, at least in my mind, is that you'll spend the first 20% of your time acquiring 80% of the intelligence. So what that means is you'll spend a very small amount of time to get the obvious information that you need to take action. So the best example that I can think of is back in, I think it was 2012, during the Osama bin Laden raid. President Obama didn't have all the information. In fact, he didn't even have 80% of the information to make a certain decision on whether to proceed forward with the military operation that resulted in the death of Osama bin Laden. If he waited until he got every single scrap of information that he needed to make a certain decision, Osama bin Laden would have been wherever, and we'd still be having this big, giant gorilla looming over us after September 11th. So that's just one obvious example that I can think of as we're recording here that I can bring to you. So act now. Act before you feel that you're ready. Just by simply acting will uncover some of the additional information that you need to move yourself forward. And I'll even use this podcast as an example. If I waited until I was the perfect public speaker or having the sexiest radio voice that you can imagine, I would never get this podcast off the ground. So my message to you in this idea is to just go before you're ready. You're never going to be completely ready. The situation is never going to be perfect. You're never going to have the perfect circumstances. So just go. And then once you get going, the second idea here is to act consistently. There's a book that I read a while back, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Very profound book. And really what it is taking action on those small yet seemingly trivial, you might even call them bullshit tasks that you have to do day to day to get the ultimate result that you're after. I see so many people, I mean, this is probably a cliche example that I can give here, but you see all the people that go to the gym on January 1st making the New Year's resolution to get in shape and, finally lose that 50 pounds that they're after. But after 2 weeks, they peter out. They flame out. That's just one example that I can think of that you fall off the wagon of taking consistent action. Another side to taking consistent action is building a reputation. If I were to publish, I've now committed to doing 2 podcasts per week for you guys. That's my commitment to you. If I fail to live up to that commitment, I think that I'm gonna lose you guys as an audience to share my message with. And if I fail 1 week to live up to that commitment, I just simply don't live up to the word that I have made with you guys. So act consistently. So the third idea is to act despite the presence of difficulty. Now, this one kind of strikes a bit of a chord with me because I think one of the disillusionments that we have in modern society is that life should be easy. Life should be problem-free. We drive down the freeway looking at the billboards, seeing this perfect image of a problem-free life, that life should be easy, that we should be entitled to certain things. That couldn't be further from the truth. Some of the sweetest, most powerful results I've achieved in my life have become real because of the result of hard work and dedication, and as I mentioned previously, consistent action. Many of you know that I like to participate in Go Ruck challenges. I only do a handful of those throughout the year, yet that it's difficult to not only complete the events, but it's difficult to train for those. It's just taking a step out of your comfort zone, and oftentimes I realize when I do that it's actually not really that bad. It's actually easier than I thought, and what was I worrying about this entire time? It's not that difficult. And the fourth idea is acting despite the presence of fear. And I kind of think this is one of the more important ideas, the most important idea, is that when we're sensing fear, sensing something that may harm us or bring us ridicule, that might actually be a good sign. If you're listening to a podcast like a Zero Excuses podcast or many of the other podcasts that are out there, I would I would bet money that you are after some results that 99.9% of the population only dream of or think that are wacky or crazy or whatever descriptor you want to use there. So when things become uncomfortable, you start getting scared of what people might think about you, that actually might be an indicator that you are looking to accomplish something that common people, I mean, I kind of hate using that term, but looking to accomplish something that common people only dream of. And bold action is what you need to take to accomplish bold things in your life. So I think that fear and pressure can be not manifested, but utilized in a manner that is positive for us. The presence of fear in a situation might be a good thing, and maybe you can harness that fear to move yourself forward and not shut yourself down. So that's what I have for you guys today. 4 key ideas behind taking action and taking massive, huge action in your life. That's act now, act consistently, act despite the presence of difficulty, and act despite the presence of fear, which you can also term as courage. So I'll leave it at that, guys. Next week we'll break down the core value of focus, and I'll also explain to you how focus and discipline are 2 different ideas in my mind. A lot of people might think that those are 2 related or almost identical ideas, but in my mind they aren't, and I'll break that down for you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in and listen to me ramble on for about 15 minutes here. Just want to remind you guys one last time to go onto iTunes, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to rate it as well. And head on over to facebook.com/groups/zero excuses. Excuses is spelled without the E, XCUSES. And join the close to 260 people who are just simply breaking through their excuses in their lives, having amazing conversations. So don't forget to join us next week for our interview show and another edition of the Wheelbook Wednesday show. Talk to you guys later.